Hey folks, it's time for TWiP PRO Photo Critique number 65. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another TWiP PRO Photo Critique. I'm here with my partner in crime, the amazing Mr. Troy Miller. We're going to be stepping through the latest submissions to the TWiP PRO Critique area in the community. This week's topic was water in any of its forms. And we got a crop of submissions. A, because I guess people like water, and B, because it's been 2 weeks since the last time we did our last critique. So we're going to step it up a little bit, step up the pace a little bit, walk through these. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. Troy Miller, man, what's going on down there? How you been?
I've been good. We had a little change in weather, so it's back to beanies, which I'm pretty excited about. You know, I love my beanies.
B2B.
And, just being busy editing weddings and prepping for F64 and just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you're staying busy down there. You're staying busy.
Oh yeah.
And you have to occasionally put up with who's that guy down there? What's his name? Peter Lefshin? You got to go deal with him.
With Peter.
No, Peter's awesome. We love you, Peter.
We do.
All right. Without further delay, I was going to say adieu, but I hate when Americans, inject French for no reason. But without further delay, what do you say we dive in?
Let's do it. Without further ado.
Delay. Without further delay.
You set that one up. I had to.
All right, here we go. Let's bring up TWiP PRO here. All right, we're in the photo critique topic within TWiP PRO. Look at all these submissions we got. It's fantastic.
I know, so many.
Yeah, and here's the reason. See this this Canadian maple leaf? That was a little post I threw in there. That was the reason why we had to skip a week, because I was out of town. I was hanging out with our neighbors up north. I gotta say, man. Let me just bring us back on camera here. Canada. Calgary especially. Oh my God. I love the real estate up there. I love the architecture of the real estate and the way they build buildings and apartments and houses, single family homes and all that. It exactly fits my idea of what a city should look like.
How cool.
But, they're having gas and oil issues, and, that's a political thing. So they're overbuilding for the population, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're also out of cannabis.
They're out of Canada.
Yeah. Well, they've come to the U.S. and said, please open the borders so that we can have free trade.
Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. Oh, what an interesting world we live in. Okay. All right. Well, I can't help with that, but let's at least not on camera. I can't help it. All right, so here we go. Let's dive right in. The first one we're going to tackle here is from Laura Patton. And Laura Patton, water drops on top of the candy counter. Oh, wow. Check that out. Look at that. That's cool. I always love this effect. I've seen this effect before, like we talked about. Don Komarechka has a shot similar to this with, again, Canadian maple leaf. The Canadian maple leaf, I think it's the flag, or maybe it's just a maple leaf, that's reflected in these sort of water droplets. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting effect that looks like you would have to use Photoshop to do it, or some other sort of special effect plugin. But this is actually reality. This is water refracting through all the little lenses that is the water droplets. What'd you think of this shot?
I love it. I think it's great. I mean, the different sizes of the water drops, it draws your eye. I mean, you want to look all over this image, and then you look into the image and you get to see, what's in the candy counter. So each bubble has each droplet has a little bit different information from what's in there. So it's very creative. I really like it. I mean, I would have cleaned up some of the miscellaneous water droplets in there, like the little tiny one, sort of center right, just little cleanup stuff. But as it is, I really like it. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, this is cool. It's not that hard to do. Yeah, so it's really fun, and you can do stuff like this in your kitchen, or in your garage or something, or on a candy counter somewhere, and still come out with something that looks really artistic and abstract. So, Laura Patton, thank you so much for your submission.
Yeah, very nice.
Stephen Sharf's up next. Stephen Sharf says 3 phases of water. All, of course, he's going to say all 3 chemical phases of water, solid, liquid, and gas phase. This is at Yosemite National Park, March 5th, 2017. Shot with his Fujifilm X-T2. Let's bring this up. Yeah, look at that. All 3. Yeah, I guess this is. Yeah, so ice, mist, and liquid water.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I like the black and white element especially. Of course I do, because it's black and white.
Yeah, of course.
Some dodging and burning would really help this image a lot. Bring up that waterfall a little bit, and that way that pops out, because I think that's sort of our center of interest. But as far as like a depiction of water, this is really cool. This is very clever. I like this one a lot. I like I do like it more as a landscape, than more of as a water per se.
Yeah.
But
yeah, water isn't the hero of this shot. The mountains are, right?
Right.
Yeah, but still, it definitely fits in, because there's more water showing here than there is not water. So
true. Composition's great. The treatment is really nice. I like how the image is finished. That's really nice. This would do well in competition.
Yeah, no, I love it. I knew you'd like that key line around the edge there. Steven's pandering to you. I know. Very good work, Stephen Sharf. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. All right, Joshua Sommerfeld is up next. Bring his up. Joshua says, an underwater romance between 2 false Riles. I don't know what that is. I have never had to pronounce that word before. I don't know. Edited in Capture One and Photoshop. Let's take a look. Oh, geez. What is going on? Oh, see, this is like one of those, you almost have to cross your eyes to see what's going on here. These are 2 dragons, it looks like. Facing each
I thought from the thumbnail, I thought maybe it was like a landscape shot, right? Like a foreground and the mountains in the background. So that was really different when it came up. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, this is cool. And you see teeth. It's like, what is that mountain doing with teeth?
Yeah. This is very interesting. I don't know that I've even ever seen those creatures, let alone seen or had to try to pronounce that word. Yeah. This is very interesting. I like the color split between the 2, right? Sort of a positive and negative or something like that. It's neat.
Ebony and ivory. Yeah.
Diagonal lines.
Yeah. Well, what did he say? He shot this with his with a 90 millimeter at f2.8. So he shot this with. Yeah, so 90 millimeter. So he was relatively close to these guys. Unless he cropped the heck out of this image, he was relatively close to these teeth here. So
right.
Joshua, unless you got limbs to spare, you might take a step back. These guys look a little hungry. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the crop. I like how tight it is. I'd like to see a little more contrast in the highlights, like bring the highlights out. They look a little bit muddied, but maybe that's just the texture of the top creature there. Maybe that's just sort of like a muted skin tone or something. But other than that, I dig it. This is definitely a reptilian shot.
Yeah. I like the fact that it draws you in, because you don't. Like we said, we're like, your brain doesn't see this every day, so it doesn't have anything to compare it against and recognize.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So your brain has to okay, what is this? No, not landscape. Teeth. Oh, okay, work your way back from teeth. That's a mouth. Okay, then puts the eyes over here. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Thanks, Joshua Sommerfeld.
Awesome.
Next shot is from James Glennie. What's up, James Glennie? James says, playing with an old friend and some new ones. The old friend is the waterfall, and the new ones are my shiny new 10-stop neutral density filter and the editor, Capture One.
Yay. All right.
Look at that. Look at him pandering to you again.
Well, no, that's not fair, because if he was, it'd be black and white.
It would be black and white. It would be.
Which this image would be amazing in black and white. So,
do you think it'd be better in black and white?
I do. I think that the green and the highlights and the yellow in the water and all that kind of stuff, I think that it tends to distract, right? So like you look at the water and you see that those yellow streaks in the rocks, by the rocks, where the water is. And you're like, well, what is that? So your brain is asking questions about the image. If it was black and white, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't even worry about it. You would just see the flow and the leading lines of the streaky water in the foreground. So
yeah, like we always say, if color's not adding to the story,
right,
fire it.
Yeah. Kick it out.
You're out of here.
Neat shot though. I mean, very well handled. Where it's sharp where it needs to be sharp. You've got nice smoothing going on with the with the long exposure. There's a nice reflection coming off of the water, so the exposure was long enough to allow that reflection to build up. So
yep, very nice. I love this. This is like time travel, because it's you're compressing time into a single frame.
Yeah, there was an old image of a movie theater. Somebody photographed the whole movie. So basically the theater, right? And then the screen is bright white blank. And I thought, what a creative shot that was.
Yeah.
Because literally, here's the photo of the movie.
Interesting.
Because it's all there. The data was there. It built up the image.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and that's how some cameras are doing that. Well, is it a Fuji that does some? Oh no, the Sony. As Peter was talking about using that new mode on the Sony that does sort of that thing, right? Where it takes a bunch of images and then makes a kind of a pseudo long exposure from them.
Yeah, the newer Sonys don't do that.
Oh, they don't?
Don't. No, it's only up to the Mark II. Yeah.
Why? Why do you give it? Why do you giveth and taketh away, Sony?
I don't know, but I wish it still had that. That was an amazing feature.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of amazing, the next shot is from a new member, Torben Cool. Torben, tell me if I'm pronouncing your last name right. He said, that's an image from my archive, which I made at Lake Inari in Finland. I guess you can call this a composite. Everything below the little tree in the middle has been in the original image, but I took away the horizon in order to create the impression of an endless lake. It is actually one of the largest lakes in Finland. Therefore, I called it Endless Inari. Okay, cool. Oh, look at that.
That's cool.
That's kind of crazy.
What would be really great is to see the before and after, if you can do that. Because I think that's a really good lesson to look at, is like just the simple removal of a small piece of the image can change exactly how we perceive it. Like we see this as water that goes on forever, as opposed to, oh, there's a horizon in there somewhere. Right? That would be really cool. But I dig it. I'm trying to decide. I would probably have cropped out the stump in the foreground.
And just made because it's got two subjects, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the stump in the foreground, the sharp objects in the front corners. I don't think they add to the image. I think that I was going to say the mysteriousness maybe of the tree on the little island, and then just sort of that infinite sort of horizon, that Truman horizon.
Would you convert this to black and white? Or would you keep it color?
I would keep this color.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't track your black and white aesthetic. It just moves all over the place.
Well, this one's actually kind of simple, because if you convert it to black and white, the green and the blue, the green of the tree are the same hue or the same intensity, so they're going to go to the same grayscale. So they're not going to have a lot of separation there. So you're going to lose those two. So with the blue and the green, you're going to have good separation. So that's why I like them the way that it is.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on cropping out those foreground elements, like the sharp rock in the lower right, the bush in the lower left, and the tree stump. And just cropping above that to make the hero of this image the tree on that rock out there, and its supporting character the rock right before it. Right. Yep.
Yeah. What an awesome shot! God, don't tell anybody where this is. There'll be droves of Instagrammers standing there trying to take this photo.
Do you think the shot could use a dragon flying? I was watching Game of Thrones, man. I got dragons on the brain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Love it.
Definitely. What a cool shot.
Yeah, this is a cool shot. And Torben, welcome. Yeah, I believe Torben is one of our newest members. So welcome to the fray, Torben.
Thanks for jumping in on the critique, too.
Yeah. Next up, we got Eric Pronsky, and Eric says, looking from the top of, what is all these names are killing me today? Dinjandi waterfall. This image was taken in the Westfords region of Iceland. At least I know this one, a Voigtlander.
Yeah, there you go.
The Voigtlander 15 millimeter lens on a Sony A7R2. Then he talks about the specs. Yeah, okay, let's take a look at this shot. All right, see, another dragon shot. He's dragging in it.
Yeah, I want my house right out there, right on one of these cliffs. Like,
yeah, and your helipad somewhere nearby, so you can go from.
No, I don't want to leave. I don't want anybody to show up, and I don't want to leave.
Then you're going to need a farm and some livestock, and it doesn't look like that's a farming area.
Don't mess up my fantasy. Don't mess with that.
Don't bring your reality into my fantasy. How dare you?
That's right. Didn't you know I can teleport?
Exactly. Yeah, it's your fantasy. So yeah, you got a teleportation device in there.
Yeah.
For
Eric,
quick trips to Costco.
I got it at Costco. Yeah.
I like the shot though. I like he's saying, the wide angle lens just really makes these kinds of shots really dramatic, right? Did he say he was using a neutral density filter? 15 millimeter lens? I don't think so. It doesn't say it, but would you think he'd use a neutral density filter on a shot like this?
No, I'd be really tough on that 15.
Yeah, right.
This is
fit it on there.
No, you could tape it maybe. I don't think it'll work.
Yeah.
This is one of those kind of shots that you underexpose slightly, and then you bring up all that detail in the sky and the highlights. But it looks like it was not a too dynamic of a scene, so that's really nice. So the editing is very well handled, and I think it's good in color too, because I know that's what you were thinking. I wasn't going to go black and white, although I would try it because I try everything in black and white.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's probably equally impressive in both, I think.
Right. I mean, my thing with this image is I'm kind of struggling with. There's two images in here for me. If you crop it right in the center, you got this beautiful horizon leading line out into the whatever that is, the ocean or additional waters, and then the sky, and then the foreground is the river, right? That running water, and I see those two. They're kind of competing for my attention. So maybe some dodging and burning, bring up the water in the foreground, let everything else kind of fall. I think we just need a little balance in there.
Yeah. Pick a hero.
Where to look. I like the crop. I mean, maybe take a little bit of the sky off so that we're looking at the foreground a little bit more.
Yeah.
But super, super nice. I love this.
So are you saying you would or wouldn't put a dragon in here?
I would put a dragon in everything.
I'm just saying. I mean, it could be flying. It could be standing on the edge of a cliff. I'm just saying,
Right. Although I'm not the person to do the dragon. That's not my forte.
Joshua Summerfield could render out a dragon in his sleep and put it in here. I'm just saying.
You cool.
Yep.
Yeah. We should do a community image. We all share a piece of the image and we get somebody to put them together.
Oh my God. That would be like, yeah, or like one of those Photoshop contests. Remember those? I used to do that where, and you end up with a soup that tastes like 15 people made it. Not very tasty. All right, the next shot is from Thomas Aaron. Thomas Aaron says, a rainy drive through the Scottish Highlands. Traffic was backed up for hours on the way out of the Highlands back toward Glasgow, so I took a picture. If you squint your eyes, you can make out the Loch Ness Monster. It was taken with my old Canon T3i. Where's Nessie in there? I don't see her. See, we're continuing that dragon theme, just saying, Nessie could have been a dragon.
Yeah. Neat concept. I like the red lights on the left, a couple white lights on the right. If I didn't know better, I would say that the image was flipped, right? But because he was in Glasgow, he was in driving on the left side, so that would be correct.
Oh yeah, look at your American brain. Come on.
Yeah, no, I know. But see, that's also a good storytelling ability for what your image is. Who's going to view your image? Right, because if you're going to show this to Western culture, to the Americas, something's going to be weird about it. So you either do that on purpose, or just realize that they may not get it because it's flipped.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, that's cool. It's really cool. This reminds me of one of those sort of dark crime story opening scene movies where
Yeah.
somebody's been murdered or something and they're on their way to the crime scene and it's a dark, misty evening. It kind of has that feel.
Well, because there's a dragon,
Right.
So everybody's evacuating.
Right. Well, maybe the victim was Nessie, and they're driving to Lake Loch Ness to investigate, do some forensics.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. I don't think it's sharp though, but it's very cool.
You don't think it's sharp?
No, I don't think it's in focus.
What did Thomas do to you? Why are you hating on Thomas Aaron?
I'm not hating on Thomas. I love Thomas. He's my buddy. He's going to be on my podcast tomorrow night.
Oh, very cool. That's right. What's your podcast about? The episode?
It's about pet portraits. It's about pet photography. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to share where that is so people can go check it out.
I will. Yeah, I'll dump a link in the chat.
Apparently, people love their animals. I don't know what that is. They love their pets, cats, dogs. Who's the best, Troy Miller? Dog owners or cat owners?
Cat owners.
Yeah, there you go. You can stay on the show then. All right, next shot up is from Craig Stanfley. He says practice session before day 2 of the Gold Coast Pro. Look at that.
Yeah. Take that surfer out and you got a good image.
Get rid of that human infestation.
My brain just goes right to that water. Like I want to go to Australia and go visit Craig just so I can go shoot these waves. These waves are just so beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Although I think the photographer has something to do with making the waves beautiful.
True. But the quality and stuff.
They don't actually look like this if you go to Australia, Troy, or not. Like the light travels the same speed there as it does here. So.
No, it's better.
No, it's slower there? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I live near LA. The smog blocks everything.
Oh, geez.
It bracks all my light. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Your eyes are calibrated.
I dig this image. I dig the abstractness of this image. You don't often see surfers intentionally, blurry like this with the waves and everything. And I think this is exceptionally well done. I really like it.
Yeah, I like the kinetic nature of it because it's just showing, his every muscle in this guy's body is working right now, and he's watching every movement of that wave to stay in there. Have you ever surfed?
No, but I've been beaten up by the waves, so it's kind of the same thing, right?
Oh, okay. So you've been driftwood, but never a surfer.
Driftwood. Yeah, pretty much.
Got it. People from outside California think we're all surfers. So, especially if you live in Southern California, don't you run?
Right.
Don't you every day you're running in slow motion on the beach and playing slow motion volleyball with the hot women, right?
In my red Speedos.
In your red Speedos. There you go. And no beanies on the beach, though. I don't know if that's allowed.
I'm out.
You're out. No, can't play. All right, next shot is from member Mike Doran. And Mike says, I was looking through my archives and came across this image from 2001 during a monster rainstorm during the annual visit to IMSA. I was using a Canon D30 and the Magic drain pipe from the 8200 2.8 under a plastic bag. Enjoy.
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah, I was thinking of Mike Doran the other day. I was watching a movie about a Formula One race car driver, Senna, S-E-N-A, who passed away many years ago in a car accident. And I was thinking, how do you photograph something that's going that fast?
Very carefully.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, I wonder how fast these guys are going. And how fast can you go with those tires on water? Those are not designed for water, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I know that, that maybe they pit and they change the tires for
that's
water.
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder, Mike, let us know. Do they pit and then put on all weather tires or something and then continue the race, or do they just slow it down? And everyone agrees that when the track's wet, you don't go above X miles an hour or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think they'd have to, because the regular track tires have no tread in them at all. They're super flat, so you just hydroplane on that water like crazy, which would be fun to watch.
Yeah, you could just drift around the whole track, right?
It'd be like walking on ice.
Yeah. I love it.
But I dig the shot. I like the shot. I like the leading line. I like the crop. It looks a little flat, maybe. a little more punch in the highlights. Looks good, but
I think so. Yeah, I think I was going to say that too. It looks like it could be punched up a little bit. I don't know if it's clarity. I don't know if if it's because of the weather. I see sort of I don't know if it's a cyan cast on there.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, right? Yeah, but not egregiously so. But yeah, I agree with you. If you pump up the highlights a little bit, make it pop more, and maybe slide that color temperature slider away from cyan and more towards magenta a notch.
Yeah, just a skosh.
Just a skosh, chotto, just a little bit. All right. Thank you, Mike. Moving on to the next shot, Steve Van Sickle. Steve says, this is a tiny cascade atop Glen Onoko Falls that I mentioned in my previous show and tell. It's also the first time I got that silky smooth long exposure effect with the water. Yeah, it's nice when you finally nail that, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not as easy as it looks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that is
nice.
Beautiful. That needs a model in it, or a fairy or something.
Or a dragon head drinking out of the...
There, thank you. Yeah, because there's... Yeah, well, you had a little bit of sense of scale, but you put a baby dragon in there.
A baby dragon, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, really nice image. Congratulations on getting the long exposure shot. I would suggest a little vignetting in the greenery. It's a nice vignette naturally, but it's distracting from the water itself. So I would burn that down just a little bit, just the greenery there around the edges. But other than that, it's really a fantastic image. Maybe black and white would really bring out that water a little bit, but maybe not. It's already kind of monochromatic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I like it like this. I really do.
No, I don't disagree. It's really nice.
It draws you in for
good
sure.
use of water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, moving right along. Thank you, Steve Van Sickle. All right, next shot is where's Steve Van Sickle's down here. Okay, next shot is Kai Groddert, Water in Motion. There's your waves again.
Oh.
Look at that.
Love it.
Yeah. I love the strata. Sand, surf, air. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. See, this is what I want. I want to go shoot these. This is it. I'm jealous it's not mine. I would probably either remove the horizon, crop the top a little bit. I feel like that horizon line in there we could almost do without. But I love the inclusion of the sand. And the fact that it's aligned nicely. We got nice parallel lines and everything in there. So this is definitely one of my favorites. This is what I'm obsessed with. I don't want to go in the water. I just want to photograph the waves.
There's danger in there.
I'm not an ocean person. I love the smell of being there. I like to get my feet wet, but I'm not interested in going in the waves. But I just love the waves. So. Yeah. This is nice. This is amazing.
I agree. I dig it. All right. Thank you, Kai Groddert. Oh, he never disappoints, does he?
No. And congrats to Kai with the addition to his family.
That's right. A new baby Groddert is on the planet now. Running around. Well, not running around yet, but yeah. Keeping the parents up at night, right?
Right.
Yeah. Congratulations, Kai.
Yeah.
All right, next shot is from Michael DeRay. Michael says, water, by far the most powerful of all elements. Fire cannot hold a match to it. Should put a winky in there. Water reshapes the earth around us. When combined with wind, it becomes an unstoppable force. Yet without it, all life ceases to exist. Very true. Water.
Very interesting. I like how his shirt has the fish on there. Yeah, while he's standing in front of the ocean. I like that. That's really cool. Having maybe coming from Kai's image, it makes me wish that this water was a little bit longer exposure, right? Like a little bit more abstract-y and smooth. Mm-hmm. But a neat story. And I would probably get rid of that, the bottom of whatever that is, that monopod or pole or cane or whatever that's coming out of his right shoulder.
Oh yeah, what is it? Maybe a fishing pole or something? I can't tell what that is. Yeah, but since we can't tell what it is, it's distracting, right? Get rid of it.
Right. Love the presentation though. Love that black key line on the white. Very nice.
Pandering. Yeah, I like it.
No, it's quality, man. It's
subjective. Very cool. I like this shot. I agree though. If it was long exposure too, that'd been killer. But shooting humans, who knows? This guy may have been caffeinated, moving around too fast.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Michael DeRay.
Yeah.
All right. Next shot up is from Michael Rhino.
Yeah, I know this area well.
Oh, look at that. Michael says, this week's theme, water, is what my camera and I were getting covered with while photographing the Bridal Veil Falls in Yosemite National Park last Friday morning. Surprisingly, I had the entire Yosemite Valley to myself at Valley View during sunrise, then went down to this location about 45 minutes later and was one of about 4 visitors there. Later in the day, I drove by the lot and it was completely infested. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this spot. This spot is so cool, and you photograph here unless you want to get wet.
Yeah,
so
because it's nothing but mist up there. We've been up there as well. Yeah, it's very misty, and that's quite a hike to get to this point, right?
No, it's right off at the end of the parking lot.
Oh, really? I'm thinking somewhere else then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Bridal Veil, you park to the right of the falls, and you walk down a little path. There's a little tiny walking path that walks you up the river, but it's not a hike at all. No, that's why this is so popular, because it's really easy to get to, but it's spectacularly beautiful.
Black and white.
I think so. This one, I think so. I don't think the colors are adding. I want to see more pop in the water in the foreground. I love the distance, the shallow depth of field for the falls itself in the background, or maybe that's just the mist.
Yeah,
that's creating that separate. Yeah, I love that. I really do. I mean, I've seen this location so many times and shot there myself, and I always enjoy it. This is a really great shot. Makes me want to go back.
Last time I went, I don't think the water, maybe that's what I'm thinking. I don't think the water, I think last time I went, we're probably right at the tail end of the drought. So even if we're out of it yet, but yeah, I don't think this water was flowing like this when I was there.
Yeah, there's a lot of water there now, and you're close. You should visit.
Oh yeah, it's literally like an hour and a half from my house.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
All right, next shot up is from Warren Luz, and Warren says, as winter approaches, the beginning of the fall, beginning in the fall, continuing into winter, the rains come to our islands, especially on the windward side. This day in October was no exception. Photographing with friends in the, can't pronounce it, Botanical Garden, and they can't pronounce it. We sought shelter from the rain and around the visitor center that morning. Looking up, I was intrigued by the rain running off the roof and took this image. Very cool. That's what I'm going to start substituting. Can't pronounce it. It's in there. Not even going to try. Not even going to butcher it, make myself look bad and ruin the language. So.
Yeah, what a neat abstract. I love it. I'm glad that the background is nice and dark, so there's not anything going on in there, so we can see the water. I might crop off one side or the other so that the that metal drain or whatever it is isn't dead center. But such a cool abstract.
Yeah, no, I dig it. I agree with you as well. Yeah, adding a little more tension to it by cropping, moving that metal pipe object to closer to one of the rule of third intersections. That might help it a little bit. But yeah, cool shot. I love this kind of abstract. At least you can almost smell that rain from here, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I want to be there.
Hey, you live close to an airport, man. Just jump on. All right, Warren Luz. We've got a couple more to go through. We're good. All right. Armando Bruck's up next. And Armando says, this photo I took in Siem Reap, Cambodia. I saw these 2 kids playing in the rain, and I started to take photos. They are seated on a motorcycle. I love to have eye contact in my street photography, but for me, this one was the best. One of the kids' cover, and the small one with eyes closed. Let's take a look. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, this is really amazing. This is definitely one of my favorite shots of yours, Armando. This is really fantastic. I mean, the storytelling of this is just wonderful.
Hmm.
It's in the category of water. It's not the main focus. Water is not our main focus, but this wonderful child's face and the abstract crop and all that negative space that's going on up there, and this is killer. This is really good.
Yeah, I agree. I love the composition on this as well, and people are putting the key line in there. Look at that.
I know, it's so good. I might crop off about half of the left side, negative space on the left side, and get rid of those white dots in the top left corner.
Oh,
I feel
or
like
burn them down, or is it if you burn them down, would that make that black area too distracting?
I mean, you would only burn them down if you're going to enter this in like a photojournalistic contest or something like that. Other than that, I would just clone them out. Because I think they draw your eye because you look in from the top left corner of the frame, so they kind of grab your eye first, and we really want to stay in the lower right quadrant. So getting rid of those highlights.
I've always wondered about that. Is that a universal thing where, because we say that when you read an image, quote, read an image, you start from the top left and read, down to the bottom right, like we would read a book, but not everyone reads like that, right? So I wonder if, like, say, Japanese people do it the opposite, and they read top down, and is it the same? Like, do Japanese people scan an image the same way that they read, or is scanning an image universal?
No, they do scan the way that they read. If you look at their art, their historical art, a lot of their the drawings and stuff are narrow and vertical. Some of the older stuff, it's just the way that you train your brain to look at a scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, there's things that can change that, whether it's colors or shapes or hotspots. But the general rule is, if we don't know where to start, we Western culture, we start in the top left corner.
Yeah.
Very
Psychology of photography.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Armando. All right. Moving right along. Next shot is from Brian Taylor. And look at this. And Brian says, "This is what happens when you get too close to the water. You get wet. I thought I was far enough away to capture these powerful waves, but my camera and I got wet. The interesting flare in the upper right is from water drops on the lens. This was captured with my Sony A7R and a Keep-On Bavize. Never heard of that. Bavize Ultra 0.7x adapter from Pentax. All right, let's take a look.
Oh, it's a medium format lens. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, and he got it wet. Oof.
Sorry, not funny. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Neat shot. Yeah, I wish it was sharp foreground to middle ground, but I know he's focusing on that wave. Didn't mean to do that. So, serendipitous moment there. I love it. I like that color right in the middle.
Kinetic energy of water.
Yeah, you could almost crop off that whole foreground right up into it starts to get a little warm. The warm tone. Probably just crop that bottom off.
I like those big droplets in the water, though. See those?
Yeah, but they're not sharp. They're not in focus.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to be sharp, though. Some of the best photographs in the world aren't sharp. Come on.
Yeah, they probably weren't on purpose, though.
Well, some of them, photojournalism, if you get the story, if it's, as long as you can tell the story, it can be a little blurry.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, I know. As not all my wedding photos that brides choose or go big or whatever are always sharp.
Yeah.
Or always technically sharp,
because you care more about the people in them. Like, oh, that's Grandpappy. All right. Next shot is from Tanja DePrinz, and Tanja says, oh, that's awesome. For a journalistic project, I had the privilege of shooting a group of demented elderly people going on their weekly activity, a visit to a private swimming pool. I was personally deeply touched by this particular moment. Although trapped in her old body and deteriorated mind, this lady showed me something which we all sometimes lack: the ability to enjoy the simplest things and experience pure joy like a child. The contact with the water awoke her briefly out of her parallel universe. For a split moment, we shared the same world. Wow.
Nicely written. I like that.
That is that. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a story. Like this on its own, you're like, oh, look, nice elderly lady in the pool playing with the beach ball. You read that story, and it just adds another dimension to it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's important too. So, the image has to speak to us. And if we don't have the words go along with the image, then we have to make up our own interpretation. So this image really stands on its own, first of all. I mean, it's such a neat image. I love the composition, the face, the smile, she's really into the water. And then adding that story just adds a whole nother layer of experience to it. So
Yep, I agree. Which is it's important. Words are important. That's why I'm becoming an advocate. Like I interviewed someone a while back that was doing the Weekly 50 project. If you search for Weekly 50 on TWiP, and he publishes a photo weekly, but then writes up a little narrative about how he did it and records the audio of it, which is awesome because you can hear his voice and, the inflections and passion and, the uncertainties and all that comes through verbally, which don't necessarily come through in the written word unless you're really, really good.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes we need that extra bump. The more that I look at this image, seeing some more things that I really like. There's streaky water on the right. So there was some splashing going on. The strobe fired. You can see her right foot is just barely splashing into the water. So that she was kicking or moving or doing something. So
yeah,
great timing, peak action.
This is probably a part of a really good photo story. I'd love to see that photo story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, Tanja, thank you so much. Never disappoints. Tanja DePrez. All right, next shot. Speaking of never disappointing, Tim Engel is up next, whom, by the way, I will be interviewing in about 5 minutes.
Nice.
This is Tim Engel. Look at this. So water. I know I've seen this shot before, so I know this comes from Tim's archive. And I know exactly where he shot this, by the way. I don't know if I was there that day, but I know where this is. This is Folsom Lake in Sacramento, adjacent to the famous Folsom Prison that Johnny Cash performed at. Yep.
I think he entered this in a previous critique.
Did he?
If I remember correctly.
Oh, so we have to disqualify him. No recycling. Yeah. No recycling, Tim Engel. That's just lazy, man. Come on.
I got to remember talking about the horizon going through her head, but I'm not going to bring that. I'm not going to bring that up.
Oh, that's right. That was many episodes ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. But still, this is cool. I love the reflection of this. I love the expression on the model's face. It's like she's almost like a mannequin bust sitting in the water.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you can see water droplets on her neck and shoulders. So it's the wet look works when you have those water drops. It always, maybe it's just me, but personally I find it a little bit annoying when you have this model that's saturated in the water and she's perfectly dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
get them wet. Put some water on them. Put some water.
That's right. At least for some of the shots.
Yeah. Very good work, though, Tim Engel.
I love how it's dead center, though. I do kind of enjoy the
it's
the
intentional. Yeah, especially when it's intentionally dead center, right there. The artist had that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Next shot is Peter Lyons, world famous real estate photographer. Peter Lyons. Let me go back. So Peter says, before I go this one, a 52-foot racing yacht competes on San Francisco Bay. Shot low from a moving chase boat at 35 millimeter with my 24-105, a 30th of a second at f14 ISO 100. Let's take a look at that.
Wow.
If that's not sharp, I don't know what's sharp.
That's sharp. No,
at
that's
a 30th of a second on a boat shooting another boat. That's just awesome.
Wow. It's this is interesting because it's hard to critique a subject that I've never really photographed or spent a lot of time in. I kind of got to go off my preference. I mean, I like the fact that there's movement in there. I like the fact you can see all the people. I wish the city wasn't as sharp, but maybe that's cool because this is going in a race magazine or something, that's going to be seen from there. They want to be able to see their skyline.
Yep.
Wow, how neat.
You've been sailing like this, Troy Miller?
No. No, nobody wants me on their boat
Why not?
because I get sick.
Oh, come on. You would not. Well,
Maybe in
you
the
might.
chase boat, but
I got sick
yeah,
on a catamaran in Hawaii, so yeah, that's a sick I don't wish on anybody. Those kind of
no,
sick. Oh God, it's like just drown me now. Be done with it.
yeah,
But this is
yeah.
a beautiful boat, beautiful shot. I love this. This is definitely race or sail magazine quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'd love to see the whole boat. I mean, I know that you got to get shots of them, but I like for this, I'd really like to see the whole boat, at least some of those things. So maybe if he has some of those images, he can share just to satisfy
You mean
that.
showing the sails at the top?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's probably big. I don't know how big. I mean, I don't know how big these boats are.
Mm-hmm. 52 feet, 51 feet.
Well, I know he said that in the description, but
Just say it. Do the math.
I'm trying to pretend like I'm just
Like
the
you know something
viewer.
about sailing. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah, 52 feet. 52 feet.
killer image, killer image. I love it. I like the motion.
I love that. I know there's got to be some math involved with if there's a 52-foot racing yacht, then the sails have to be at least something. I have no idea. I've never even been on a racing yacht. So, all right. Next shot up is from Lamb, and Lamb says, "I took the shot while my wife was at the wheel. It was boring." Oh, he got chastised a little bit in TWiP PRO about this. He says, "I took this shot while my wife was at the wheel. I was hoping just the raindrops on the window, so I waited for any car to pass. At the same time, another car from behind was coming into the side view mirror. The photo looks gloomy. I decided to leave it as is." This is this scene's actual look. Okay, let's take a look.
Oh wow. I always
Okay.
love how he formats his info at the bottom, theme, water, title.
I love it.
I love it. I
Yeah.
do.
That is great. That's attention to detail, meticulousness.
Yeah, my OCD brain just loves that. It's all organized.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I thought he had posted a shot somewhere where he was talking about how he was leaning out of the window taking a shot while driving or something. But I don't think this was it. He said his wife was driving on this one. So
Yeah, nice. I love the water drops. I think we've all done that. They're amazing to see. I'm kind of wondering. There's a couple distractions. The red from the car. The tail light is just really drawing my eyes out. I wish it was just the mirror, the water drops, and the car that's out of focus in the background.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you think you could fix that in post, like sort of blur it out over there, or would that be too distracting?
Yeah,
Or
you
just
could
crop it.
Yeah, you could totally crop it and then just maybe clone out the top right corner where a little bit of that red comes in. But I think the story is really in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. All right. Thank you, Lamb. All right. And the next shot, I believe this is our final shot. Yes. This is the final shot. It's from William Bannock. And William says, "Collision. A while back, I played around with water drop photography. Neat stuff and taught me a lot about high-speed photography. Setup for this shot was fairly simple. Raised platform with holes drilled in it for a medicine dropper over a tray filled with water. MyOps trigger and laser pointer to start event fire time at a user-defined delay." This doesn't sound simple. White plexiglass was used for the background and illumination provided by two Canon 600 EXRT flashes at 1/64th power, captured with a Canon 5D Mark III. This shot illustrates secondary, tertiary, or perhaps quadrantary droplet. He and Steven need to hang out. Colliding with the Worthington jet of the first droplet to hit the water. The Worthington jet of the first droplet to hit the water.
Oh, I didn't know that had a name. Of course it does.
Of course it has a name. Now we know what the name is. It's a Worthington drop. Thank you for the schooling. I know. See, photography appeals to the scientific and the artistic and the, everybody in between.
Yeah. Well, we capture photons. That's what we do. So.
Yes, we do. I love this shot. This is cool. I think this is a really cool shot. I mean, clearly put a lot of work into this shot as well, technically and sort of artistically as well. When I look at this, I see a flower.
see a flower. I see a water drop. So I don't know where you're.
Well, that's because you're creatively stunted. I think that's
Oh, wow.
that's okay. The world needs both.
I've done these old school though. Try doing this and timing it. It's.
Oh yeah, and just hit continuous high while the water drops.
Yeah. When it just about hits, you go. Brrr.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get it. This is very cool though.
All right, I'll go one up on you. Try to do this manually with film.
No, I can't afford that.
I know that'd be like film. 40 rolls to get this one shot, right?
Right.
No, I like the shot. I like the simplicity of the shot. Clearly water, right? It feels like a glass sculpture that you'd see in some tourist shop somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just looking at. I would clean it up a little bit. You've got a couple of the little tiny water drops at the bottom. There's 2 little tiny ones. Those are a little distracting. And then you've got some, looks like either sensor dust or some kind of little particulate on the right side of the stem.
Oh, I see that. I thought that was on my MacBook screen. Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm moving the image around. So, and then I think you could lose a little bit of the top. I don't think we need all that space at the top.
Well, it's got to have some place to go. It's reaching.
Too much top.
Too much time.
Yeah. And then my only other critique, not on this image, but like future images, is think about a little bit more depth of field. So that whole splash or bloom at the top, if you will, so that you can get that whole thing in focus. I think that really takes these images.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
But I dig it. I think this is my favorite.
I was going to say that. This is my favorite too. So we win. We have a favorite for the week. And
wow, that was an easy pick.
William Bannock. Yeah. And the reason I picked this, there was lots of good submissions this week. Over the past 2 weeks, actually. I picked this one because it is literal. It's literally water, right? And it is about water. And it's also very well, it took a high degree of skill, even though he says it didn't, to execute the shot. This doesn't feel like a simple shot to do. And, you went the extra mile, put some plexiglass back there, lit it correctly, probably was out there for quite a while trying to get this one shot. I'm sure he has hundreds of these shots, and he picked this one. So, yeah, right. Bravo, William. Bravo. Yeah. Very nice shot.
Yeah, and a great interpretation of the theme.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure.
Speaking of themes,
let's bring us back on screen. Next week's, per your suggestion, is going to be open. So no specific category. Dig deep, people. Dig deep, into your creative mind or archive and submit something that you think is fantastic and that you want everyone to see. And we're going to critique those. So no specific theme for this next critique. It could be anything. So, well, almost anything. Keep it classy, San Diego. So we ain't that kind of show. So keep it classy. But yeah, pretty much anything that you want to submit, and we'll go with that. So
perfect.
Very cool. And that'll be episode 66 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting close to 100.
Yeah, not really. You're closer to 75.
It's going to happen.
We're closer to 50 than we are 100. Cool, man. All right. Well, let's wrap this one up. Any final thoughts you want to share before we roll the intro music credits?
I have this thing in my head that I hear, when we get about this time, and it's take that lens cap off.
No, you got to do it right. Come on. Do I do that?
I can't. I'm laughing now.
Do I even do those on the critiques? I don't think think you do. You need to come up with a catchphrase for the critiques, Troy Miller, and then you say it every time. There you go. Yeah. Always think critical. How about that? No, I'll let you think about it. The next week you'll come up.
Be creative.
Yeah, you're just no. Just no. We'll work on that. We got work to do. All right, man. Very good. I'll see you in the next critique session. Oh, well, we'll talk way before then, but we'll see you folks in the next critique session.
Yep, you got it.
All right, Troy Miller. Take care, man.
Take care.
Bye. This is TWiP.